All right. Welcome back. We are flying around the screen here. I'm gonna puke.
I'm so
Well,
excited. That's why I did that.
woo, we are
It's
pumped.
Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, which means roster rescue time. I am back, your host, Garrett Price, of course, with my co-host. He's back again, Taylor Christensen. Taylor, how you doing, buddy?
Hey Garrett, good to be back. Excited here in the middle of the week on a Wednesday. I don't know if I'm quite at pizza excitement level. I mean, I'm trying to stay in
It's
one
hard to do.
spot for this show, but yeah. Pete, how
It
are
is.
you doing?
I'm doing great. We're today. This is the goal. Okay. We want to make these teams go undefeated. Okay, and then, like the Dodgers, add impact pieces that they really don't need. Like today, they went out and traded for a dude. I think he had 63 stolen bases last year. So like we have depth, but we're gonna add
More depth on our depth.
more, yeah, and call it depth.
Will the Dodgers go undefeated? First baseball team to ever go undefeated.
I think it's crazier to think that they won't.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. All right. Well,
Of course, you would like that.
yeah. I mean, why not? Make it fun. So the show today, I always do a pre-show. If you guys don't know, I always do a pre-show. It's only for Nerd Herd members. So if you're not a Nerd Herd member, you do not get access to the pre-show. I do a pre-show. And I had a question, a trivia question, just like we did last time, for a potential free roster review, a free one. However, nobody's gotten the answer correct yet. So I'm going to open it up to everybody. Normally, I only open it up to Nerd Herd members. But I'm going to open it up to everybody. But you have to be a little bit of an OG to be able to get this question correct. So here it is. Here's the question. We've had some guesses of like Leonard the Ferret and Gazelle and Jake the Snake and Abanikanda and different things like that. But here's the question. Several years back, Matt O'Hara accidentally referred to this player as an animal. And we continued to use that animal noise and name for that player there on after. What player was it? You can guess the player, or I'll even be okay with you guessing the animal. Either one will get you the free roster review. So that's what we're gonna do today.
Easy.
Don't say it. Do you guys know what it is?
Of course.
Okay. Taylor, you haven't been around as long, so you might not know this one.
I know a lot of animals though, so if I had 2 hours, I could probably guess it.
There we go.
What's up, Dennis?
Dennis Bennett coming
Woo!
in with the correct answer. The name and nickname, Andy Dolphin.
Oh,
Andy Dolphin. So Dennis, good friend, and he is a nerd as well. So Dennis, go ahead and get with Pete there.
Pete,
And let's review one of
at
your
dynastynerds.com.
rosters, my guy. Let's review
Let's
one of
do
your
it.
rosters. Is Dolphin still playing? I think he might be. I know he was backing up Bryce Young. I don't know. Is he still backing up Bryce
searching
Young?
it now.
currently, yeah.
I was gonna say I think he's still there.
Oh, I just typed in Andy Dolphin. Whoops.
That doesn't pull up our
There
show
is a
instantaneously?
artist. There is an artist named Andy Dolphin, and that was the first thing that came up.
Really?
Yeah.
It probably because of our show.
Still on the Panthers.
All right, still on the Panthers. So with
2-year
that,
deal.
Dennis, get with Pete. We'll look at one of your rosters, my guy. There we go. All right. So he signed an extension. There we go. All right. So we have some rosters to review. We've got some trades to discuss. We've got some things, but Pete wanted to mix things up today. He said, Garrett, he just sprung this on me. He was like, Garrett, let's do a quick 1 QB super flex rookie mock draft. And I was like, I mean, I'm always down for a mock draft. So We're going to start that. But I want to remind you, if you have not yet, we still have some spots available for this show, so you won't get bumped to next show. If you scan that QR code that's up in the corner, you will get a free, not a free, you'll have to pay for it.
Yikes.
But you get a roster review. That's your way to get access to the roster reviews. That's great question, all that kind of stuff. It's in the upper right-hand corner, or I guess upper left-hand corner of your screen.
Why would it
All right.
be left? You always say left.
Yeah, I guess it would be left, right?
No, it's not left. It's right.
I mean, it's right for.
It's the same for everyone.
Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. I don't know if it's mirrored or
If
not.
you're watching in a mirror,
It's in one of the
then
corners.
it's
There's only
left.
4 of them. There's only 4 corners. You'll find it. All right.
Also, dropping another one. It's actually one quarterback, not a super flex.
Oh my gosh.
Whoops.
This show's already off the
Whoopsie.
rails. Show's already off.
Okay,
All right.
we're
Bring
moving
up
to the mock draft.
machine. All right. Who's going first?
You are.
I'm going
No,
first.
Taylor is.
All right, Taylor, you go first.
You said this is a 1 QB or a super flex?
One quarterback.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Ashton Genty, 101.
Were you
sure
not
about
either way,
that?
though?
I just wanted to clarify before we got into
For
the
your
other
next pick?
picks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, who's next? Pete, is it you or me?
It's you. I'm not doing this.
Oh, you're not a part of it?
No, I'm not ready for it.
You're not ready? Okay. All right. If it were me, gosh, I hate the 102 right now because I love like 3 assets, 4 assets here. Like there's so many good options right here. I'll stick with my board for now and say Travion, but I could be talked into a few different players.
Okay, I am actually picking, but I am also the chat. I am with one with the chat, and the chat is one with me, or whatever.
All right, so the chat gets the next pick.
Yeah. So chat, who are we picking? We got Tet, we got Amarian, we got Abuka. Garrett, Pete looks like your son. Let's see, Garrett. Pete looks like your son you had with your cousin by accident. By accident? I don't know about accident.
Wait, what?
You get to pick what to put on the screen. You chose this.
I did, because it's hilarious. Okay,
So-
Hampton.
So we have some family, some family
Family ties
incest going on here, and me and my cousin made Pete. Is that am I understanding that correctly?
Your cousin must be super handsome.
Oh, looks like we're getting a consensus.
Wait, why
here.
are we assuming my cousin's a guy?
Because I'm super handsome. That's the only.
We've got 3 votes.
I got it from someone. No, we went Hampton. I just picked the first one I see.
Oh,
okay.
We're
First
we're
comment?
fast.
oh,
All right.
I see. We're already on to the next.
Yeah.
All right, off the rails. All right, Taylor, you're up.
Okay, well, 1 QB, I think you could start looking at receiver at this point, but I'm going to keep it going and take Judkins here, assuming this isn't tight end premium.
Nope.
Typically, the 1 QBs are not. We did have that one random one that was, so you never know, but typically not the case. That puts me up. I'm going with the assumption that I have now shifted, and I do think Travis Hunter is going to be a receiver, and so I will take Travis Hunter here at 105 and feel really darn good about it.
That is who I was considering as the other player, was Hunter,
Yeah.
not McMillan.
Okay, ya boy. Who we picking here? Your boy's active in the chat.
Yeah, he is. Drop the
So
mics
who
here.
do you want?
Cowboy Bebop, Powerfold. We got a lot of good people. Robert just gave us the most amazing / crazy comment I've ever seen.
I would not expect that comment, to be honest.
I didn't see it coming, but I don't know that you ever see a comment like that coming.
Sometimes you do.
Pete, you're one with the chat. You gotta pick for the chat. It looks like no one.
Well, I'm waiting. Yeah, okay. Cowboy says Tet. We're going Tet. Sorry, ya boy. You took too long. I do not agree with Tet, by the way. I am extremely low on
So
Tet.
you're not one with the chat.
to be honest, I might
You're a mouthpiece for
I
him.
might have Jalen Royals over Ted.
Jalen Royals, stop talking.
Ooh.
That's what?
I mean,
Ted doesn't want. He doesn't like watching tape. Did you see that? Did you
it's
see
true.
that video?
I did see
Crazy.
that clip. I did see that clip. I don't know that I would take Jalen Royals over him, although I do really like Jalen Royals. Like I am definitely on Team Royals bandwagon. I don't know that I can go that far.
I'm getting close.
I might be able to be talked into Royals over Burden though.
Man, Matt, sneak peek, Matt hates Luther Burden, everyone.
He really does.
You know, right here, I was thinking about taking a tight end, even though it's not a premium. But instead, I'm gonna keep it going with the wide receivers and take a Mecca Ibuka.
Ooh, see. You know ball.
Ibuka.
Okay.
I'm going to take Tyler Warren. I'm going to take Tyler Warren. I don't care that's not tight end premium. I'm scared of Burden. It's not that I'm not willing to draft him. I'm willing to draft him, but I just don't think I'm going to be willing to take him where most people take him. So I don't think I'm going to have a lot of shares.
Okay. Okay, chat. First answer right here. Who we taking? 5, 4.
If you don't say
Three.
that Pete's gonna take Jalen Royals,
No, I'm gonna take my homer pick would be Cam Scattaboo right now.
Ooh,
Bam, Cam.
that boo thing.
all right, we'll put him in then.
Okay,
you
we're
get,
doing
You get
it.
to take at least one, I think.
I mean, it takes a little bit. There's like a delay. There's like a 15 second
that's
delay
Cam. Okay,
between.
let's go,
Yeah.
Alex.
So you gotta give the people time.
This is, after all, for the people, by the people. Chris Thompson,
sounds
I
very
loved you
patriotic.
on the Redskins, but I do not love Caleb Johnson.
I loved you on the Redskins. Oh man. All right, is that you, Taylor? You're up now, right?
Yep, I'm up. I'm gonna take Colson Loveland.
Ooh. Points per blocking league.
We'll see who takes him. I mean, that guy can catch
He's
the
not gonna
ball.
block much.
Yeah.
All right, 111. I'll take Caleb. I'll take Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson.
I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I think at this point in a 1 QB, I think he is still a first round pick. I think he's good enough to warrant that, so I'm gonna take Caleb.
Okay, who we got, chat? I'm not a big Golden guy.
Okay. What about Burden?
I would be leaning towards Samson over Burden. Cowboy Bebop,
Okay.
don't forget to hit the like button. Hey,
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
let's
Bebop.
go.
Make sure to like us.
Yeah,
If you're watching,
please
you at least
like
us
us.
a little bit.
If I
We
am,
need your affirmation.
so would I be your son and second cousin, Garrett?
Yes.
Yes. That's how seconds
Yes.
work.
Okay, Burden.
That is correct.
Okay, Chris.
Oh,
Going Burden.
Burden.
I was so worried you were going to snipe me on Samson. So sign me up for some Dylan Sampson. Absolutely.
Samson. Okay, we're going to the end of the second, by the way. I was debating end of the second or a six rounder, but we'll just do
A 6th round rookie mock. Woo! Wow. I'll go chalk. I'm going to take Matthew Golden here. I haven't done my deep dive on his tape, but I've seen enough that I do think he's a talented player. I think he's a fit for how the NFL plays right now. So I'll go with Matthew Golden.
Ooh. Brunkle.
A Bronco.
That's solid.
Like a brother uncle.
Okay, who we got? I have to say, LaQuint Allen has really been scratching my brain recently. Watching him, I love Trey Harris would be my pick, though.
Scratching your brain.
Scratching my brain.
That is a phrase I have never heard before.
Really?
He has been scratching my brain.
I think you're combining a couple of things. It sounds like maybe.
Well, that's
Pete,
3
Pete
words.
is good at that.
So at least, yeah. Okay, we're going Trey Harris in 10 seconds, unless if someone else has a comment.
Pops in and says
Yeah.
otherwise. Okay, because you and the chat
Hey,
won.
Steve Smith. Yeah, Harris. Steve Smith has him as his. Wait, who? Who has? So Steve Smith has Burden?
Golden.
Golden. Garrett obviously really does not care for Steve Smith's analysis after his what was it, Keon Coleman last year.
Was that the one? I don't remember. I remember there was somebody that I like strongly disagreed with.
Well, you didn't even disagree with him that much. Like Steve Smith had Coleman as like his wide receiver 12, and you're
Okay.
But he said some nice things about him. Anyway,
So I'm on the running back train here. I'm looking at the running backs. I think this is a pretty big drop based on the guys that have went before us. Maybe you're interested in Cam Ward at this point, but I'm between either like Devin Neal. I guess LaQuint Allen could be in there. I'd be maybe looking at Mason Taylor if I hadn't already taken a tight end in this. But I think when everything comes down to it, I'm actually going to take Trevor Etienne as my running back here. I just think if it's a PPR league, he's got as good a shot as anybody at carving out a role, maybe early on. Maybe I can flip him with his name value, whatever it is. I just give me the guy with some built-in security in the name, I think.
Yeah. All right. I will go LaQuint. Part of the reason he's this high on the Nerds rankings is because of my rankings. I love LaQuint Allen. I'm a big fan of his. And I think at this point in the draft too, like screw floor. Like I don't really care about floor anymore. Like I care about ceiling. And I think he has one of the higher ceilings in the class. So, oh wait, Trey Harris is still available?
No,
Shoot.
I missed on him, and I just got a steal again. So he was supposed to be my pick.
It would have been Trey Harris.
What a good pick, guys.
But Pete didn't scroll.
Well, we even agreed that was my pick, and then apparently I just didn't pick him.
So we're going to the end
did
of the
you pick?
second here.
We'll do one more round.
The end
So
of
is
this
this
round
round
or
or
doing a
One.
third?
So this is your last pick. Yes.
All right. Well, if this is my last pick, then I'm going to take a second to say that Devin Neal is my top running back that's left. But I'm going to take a swing on a guy who was talked about a lot at the beginning of the 2024 season. And he had some injury halfway through the year and didn't really finish as strong as people thought. And he had a bad combine by, people's expectations and some of his own comments. But there's a difference between knowing how to run at the combine and seeing it on the field and just putting it all together in an offense. So I'm going to take Isaiah Bond, wide receiver, see what he could do for me. Like you said, Garrett, floor isn't as important at this point. So, if he's not on my roster in a year, 2 years, that's fine. He could be on the taxi squad and see what happens. But he's just as likely to hit from here on out, in my opinion, as any of the rest of the guys.
There we go. I like it. I'm gonna go with Jalen
No!
Royals. I like Royals quite a bit. Pete, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I'm taking him. I really liked his tape a lot. I thought he had a lot of good things in his game. A very physical player at the catch point, after the catch. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Royals.
Did we upset Pete so much that he had to leave the chat?
He just said, "Screw you guys.
That's what just happened.
I'm leaving."
Gordon.
Oh,
Who's
Gordon, Ollie Gordon.
Oh, Ollie. Okay, we'll do
Get
Ollie.
yourself some Ollie Gordon.
That's infuriating, Garrett.
Nope, you and the chatter won.
Yep.
You can't complain.
The
All
new
right.
Ramondre
All right.
Stevenson.
So
Okay.
we're stopping at 2-7.
That's so
Is that
strange.
Yeah.
Okay,
Why don't
We
just
spent
finish?
20 minutes on this, Garrett.
that's fine.
We did.
Yeah.
We can do speed
220.
round. We can just do speed
Okay,
round.
speed round.
All right. What running backs
you
are
just-
left here? Do I still get
Speed
Devin
round.
Neal?
Oh, what? Right here. Go.
Yeah,
do
give
it.
me Devin Neal.
Okay.
I'll go Ward.
Okay. I'll go Jaden Higgins.
Did somebody pick twice? 3, it should have worked out. Why are we?
Dude, don't even. I've
Who
been
knows?
breaking this draft, man.
Pete. All right, well, give me Mason Taylor then.
Okay. I actually picked Jaden. Oh, okay. I know for a
Wait.
fact I clicked on Jalen Royals.
Well, then who did I take?
You got. No idea, man. This is whack.
This is why our picks are all messed up.
Yep. And so I
Yeah,
pick.
You do not
that
get
guy.
Jalen Royals.
Okay.
Oh, facial Tootin. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm so confused.
Hi, so confused. Are you ready for
Best
the first roster review?
Mock
Yes, let's
draftable.
get to the first review. Let's do it.
Yikes.
The replacement.
If you're still with us, thank you.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Roster rescue. This is our guy, Justin, tight end premium. Get 2 points per reception, not just 1.5, not 1.75, a full 2 points, so double what everybody else is getting. I have 101, 105, 107. Should I just hammer 3 straight running backs, or should I try a luxury pick and draft Hunter or Warren? So here's the team right here. Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. Running backs, Achane, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen, Sincere McCormick. Wide receivers, Drake London, Lad McConkey, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, Cedric Tillman, Jalen Coker. Tight ends, Brock Bowers, Daniel Bellinger, and nothing else. And then, like he said, 101, 105, and 107. This team is far and away the best team for Dynasty mode. What about Contender mode? Where are we at in Contender, Pete? Contender, we are right on that cusp, but the picks are worth 0 until they become players. So obviously that's going to change. So let's go back into Dynasty mode. And the nice part, Justin, is I think you are right on the cusp of where you would want to be. The second you add an Ashton Genty to this roster, you're one of, if not the top team, like right away. So if you add Ashton Genty to your roster, now you're Genty and Achane, and you really still need that third running back. I know you talked about hammering potentially 3 straight running backs, which I would be very open to doing. But specifically with the 107, I think 105, assuming he's the best available, I'm big on best available player, but I could easily see that player being a Quinshon Judkins or maybe him at 107. So I could easily see that happening. What I would be potentially open to doing then is maybe taking one of those picks that I do not think I am taking the running back with, either the 105 and the 107, and potentially splitting that asset and getting myself maybe a more established veteran to kind of help in my running back room until all my running backs, these young guys, are ready to go fully, or upgrade a little bit at receiver, because while I like Drake London, Lad McConkey, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, Chris Olave, it's a lot of very good names. We're kind of missing that steady Eddie safe guy that you would feel good about. So could I make a deal? And I'd be interested in looking at some of these teams, but could I make a deal where I get an older running back, a Derrick Henry, a Christian McCaffrey, a Joe Mixon, somebody like that to kind of solidify there, and then maybe upgrading one of my wide receivers? Can I go from Lad McConkey up to I'm trying to think of who I could get maybe. How much? Here's an interesting thought. Like, how much would it take for me to go from Lad McConkey to AJ Brown? Like, how much would that take? So I think that's the kind of move that I would potentially be looking at. I still would want more for my pick, but like that's where my thought process is at. Taylor, what do you think?
I don't think you'd have to send a whole lot to make that deal happen in some leagues. I know I have a couple where AJ Brown is definitely a declining player on people's rosters. They see him as like a good sell high candidate. And McConkey is at an all-time high. It feels like during the offseason, people are digging into the numbers more. And before the draft, they don't have anyone else brought in right now. So he's like, probably at the apex, unless his performance in season just demands that he goes up even higher. So I think if you could make a move like that, we should definitely explore it, because for the production for this team, it's definitely worth getting the security of AJ Brown. Like when he's out there, he is an elite wide receiver to have on your team. So I'm all for making that type of move and going into the season with London, a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown or AJ Brown, depending on, maybe CeeDee Lamb is a little bit cheaper in leagues right now if you wanted to look at him as an option instead. The other thing that just like, we don't do prep together before the show, Garrett, but we do at least get the information on the roster reviews. So I looked at this and had the same assessment you did. Let's turn that 107 into more, because we can take our guys at 105, whether that's Henderson, Judkins, and then at 107, you can maybe look to flip that. So to his point, asking about a luxury pick of Warren or Hunter, I think that this class is deep enough, and in a 2-point per tight end league, like a guy like Colson Loveland gets bumped up a lot to me. So I think what I would maybe look to do is, if Pete, could you click on the last place team there, or the last valued team, and scroll down to their draft picks. So they have 106 and 110, and then they have some future picks. They've got some mid seconds, and then they also have Khalil Shakir on their team. So I'm wondering if we could see about doing a 107 for the 110, and either adding in some sort of draft capital that we can use in season to get veteran talent if something goes wrong, or if we could maybe work in a deal to get Khalil Shakir thrown in, because they're not really doing much on that person's roster at the moment. So I would give them back-to-backs, 106, 107. Sometimes that psychological element gets people interested in a trade like that. So both those routes, Garrett, whichever way you'd want to take us, I think that the splitting the 107 as it pertains to his question is the way to go.
Now, can we switch to contender mode for a moment? I would be interested in like looking at some potential like exact deals. So team 12 is probably the team we just looked at, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that team, there's nothing there that we really want outside of what you potentially talked about. So let's go to the next couple teams. I don't really care about the teams with quarterbacks as much. They don't have running backs there. This team does have CeeDee Lamb, though. Maybe we could look at potentially, the Lad McConkey in 107 to move up to CeeDee Lamb. Would that be something that, or are we overpaying, underpaying, about right? Like, what do you think there, Taylor?
I think if you're the Lamb manager, you're probably excited to take that. I think you've been waiting for an offer like that to come in if you've been wanting to trade him away as someone younger with, similar production potential. Now, I don't necessarily see that being the case myself. Like, I think Lamb is a better bet for production than McConkey is, at least at this stage in the offenses they're in. So I would much rather have that security. But the problem I have with adding in the 107 and McConkey, I'd need to get something else back, something like a future second, something, so that I can use that, like I was saying, to maybe pick up a fill in later or something. Yeah, I would.
Let me ask this though, with 26 not being a super ideal class, we're kind of, with getting a little bit older, like kind of pushing the chips in a little bit. Why don't we just trade our 26 first and get ourselves the running back that we need?
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think right now there's a couple of teams who would maybe entertain that. If we want to look at just the person in third there, their name is Tim Brady 12. Yeah, so they've got Saquon and AJ Brown. Maybe they want to get rid of one of those guys and get younger. Maybe we could would you do the 107?
They're a contender though. That's the tough part, is like, I don't know that they would be that interested in moving those guys.
So if you gave them the 107 and McConkey, I think you can get AJ Brown and their 26 first if you wanted to do something like that. Like, I think if you're looking to get AJ Brown, you can use that 107 and McConkey to get it done. but like I'm not trying to overpay for AJ Brown with McConkey.
Sure.
I'm looking
No,
for
I'm with you
good
on that.
value back, and I think a 26 first, even though we're talking about it being devalued, maybe push it back, ask for the 2027 first then.
Sure. What's teams 7 and 8 there? Because like those are kind of those fringe teams that you might be able to kind of talk either direction.
So, side note, really fast. I feel like this is a sleeper, surprisingly high 2026 pick next year, because like they have some really big names, but then you look at their running backs and Robinson, Tyrone, Tracy.
Do they have
and
any
Swift.
picks right now?
No.
They have a 2026 first, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That is a team that could easily fall off if you were to get their 26 or 27.
Yeah.
That could be a team that would fall off. I agree with that.
So,
team 7 and 8 here.
Okay.
Let's see. Kyron is interesting, and then Amon Ra. Like that's a duo I would be very interested in. Amon Ra and Kyron. I don't know that Glad in 107 gets it done for you. It probably is not enough, but you might be able to sweeten the pot somewhere and make that happen. And then all of a sudden, like you're in a great spot if you can get that done. Like, would you do 107 Lad? And I don't know, like what else would you think you need to add to get that done, Taylor?
So if we wait till we're on the clock, I'm not sure we have to add a whole lot. Honestly, like
That's what I was thinking.
let's just say that like Tet falls that far, or maybe Hunter is still there, or Matthew Golden gets taken in the first round, or whatever it is, and there's a receiver that's screaming great value in the draft eyes. You add in Lad McConkey, and someone's like, well, you know what? I can replace Amon Ra with one of these two guys. Like people talk themselves into wanting to take that new shiny guy onto their roster, and I don't foresee this offseason really giving Amon Ra much of a boost. I mean, he lost Ben Johnson as his offensive coordinator, so his dynasty value isn't likely to spike, and you're gonna have to pay extra for him at some point. So I think you could pretty much make this deal on the clock and see if the Amon Ra owner is not interested. Maybe you now all of a sudden can do your 2026 first and the 107 for AJ Brown straight up. Maybe it opens up some other options. So I would be waiting until I'm on the clock for that, unless I was going to be trying to make it like for Lamb, for example. If I was going to do McConkey in the 107 for Lamb, I'm fine with doing that early. But outside of something like that, I would want to.
And I think you could even get a little bit back in that Lamb deal as well. Lamb and maybe a second or something like that. So, all right. Well, Justin, best of luck to you, my guy. I think you're in the driver's seat to be one of, if not the best team in your league. Once you add Ashton Genty, once you add another running back and potentially get one of these deals done, I think you're going to be in a fantastic spot.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Okay, Dad. So Jalen Wright.
Okay.
What is in a year from now? What will his dynasty stock be higher than it is right now, or will it be lower? If you had to make an answer right now.
Right now, I'm leaning toward lower, honestly. As much as I actually like Jalen Wright in this offense, I think it's an amazing fit. He had all of last year opportunities to kind of show something. They really kind of needed a second running back in there, and he just never really performed. I would not be surprised at all if Miami's one of those like surprise teams that take a running back to pair with Devon Achane. Like it would not shock me.
What would Caleb Johnson go up your boards if he ended up on the Dolphins?
Yeah. I don't know if Caleb Johnson is the best fit for their offense, just because I don't know that he has the juice. I do think they want a bigger back, but you also need somebody with a little bit of speed to be able to kind of work that outside zone scheme a little bit better. So, like, I think the high end I could see them going would be like a Quinshawn.
Yeah.
I think that would be the high end I could see. But I could see – I'm trying to think
like
of
a
what
Tootin?
other – I think Tootin's a lot like Achane, so maybe, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I honestly think Quinshawn is like a perfect fit for their offense. But I could see Caleb. I'm not saying Caleb couldn't be that guy. I could definitely see it. I could see a DJ Giddens being added to that offense. I could see. I'm trying to think of who else kind of like fit the bill that they would really like. Maybe a Donovan Edwards.
We're talking,
although that would obviously be like a lower pick. LeQuint would be amazing there. So yeah.
Okay, sweet. LeQuint Allen is the new Dwayne McBride. You heard it here first. At least close
Was
to the
that
goal
supposed
line.
to be a good thing?
It was supposed to be a good thing. I love Dwayne McBride, man. Okay, so now let's see what we got. We have a question.
Did Dennis give you his
Yes,
roster?
but we have a question first.
Oh, okay.
This is Taylor came up with this question.
Okay.
What is the earliest 2025 pick you would trade for a 2026 first?
A random one.
A random one. And chat, feel free to answer too.
Honestly, I don't think I would give a first round pick. So I'd probably be like 201, 202.
Oh,
If it was a
not
better class, I
not
think I'd be more-
112.
No,
201.
201,
Okay.
202. Yeah, honestly, I don't think I would.
Okay. How about you, Taylor?
Pete, when I posed this question to you, I gave you my rough guess. What did I say I would trade?
I wasn't listening.
So the 201 or the 202? I said the 201 and the 202. No, for real though, and I don't think that's what the previous. Well, last year's class, if you took Jonathan Brooks at 112, you would have rather had a future first. But outside of that, you pretty much hit on whoever you took in the first last year. Now, previously to last year, it was a pretty savvy move to just flip your 110, 112, whatever for a future first.
It's likely a higher pick.
Yeah, and if you could get a plus, then great. But I posed this question to Pete because I don't think someone could buy me out of the first round using a 2026 first this year unless they're including like a mid to high 20s or 2025 second. Like I need to still get a player in this year's draft class in like the mid to early second and get something down the road for me to give up, either Colston Loveland or Shedeur Sanders. Or, if it's not a 1 QB or if it's a 1 QB, I'm still interested in guys like we mentioned Matthew Golden potentially, but, if it's a tight end premium, you still got guys like Mason Taylor. Like I'm not giving up the 112 for a random 2026 first while these guys and names are still out there. And I might, even at 203, might be hesitant if the right guy was on the board.
Honestly, I would be more intrigued to get a 27, even though that's far away. I'd be more intrigued to get a 27 just because there's more of that lottery aspect to it. With it being so far away, teams think they know what direction they're going to be. I bet if you asked most teams, will you be a contender in 2027? I think most teams will say yes, because they either think, A, my team's really good right now. 2 years is not that far. I'll still be really good. Or B, I'm in the midst of a rebuild. In 2 years, I'm going to crush. So I think if you asked most owners how their team will be in 2027, most owners think their team is going to be really good. When in fact, we know half of them aren't going to be. So that's where you can really kind of capitalize on just the hubris of most owners thinking that I will be good.
Hubris. Isn't that a kind of tea? Like a red tea?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's hibiscus.
I'm concerned that you don't know what hubris is, Pete. I mean, I feel like that's
No.
telling of sorts.
Hey, man, I have books here. What do you have?
He's got books.
I would
He's a learned doctor.
I would try to trade the 408 for a 2026 first. That's my first.
7
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
the earliest.
Well,
Okay, we got.
sorry,
yeah.
I want to interrupt though, because what Garrett said made me think like maybe we should be looking at this from the other lens. Would you be wanting to sell your 2026 first to get into the back end of this year's class? Like, what are you going to move to try and get into this year's draft? If you think the 2026 first isn't great and you're only really one good piece away, maybe we should be buying back into this draft.
Ooh.
Yeah, especially if you're a contender and you need like running back, because next year's class there's not a lot, and there's not a lot in 27. So like this is the year if you want running back, this is the year to go get it. So
Could
yeah, I'm with you.
2026 be the worst rookie class we've seen in the last 8 years, realistically?
Possibly. I mean, there'll be guys that boom. It happens every year. There'll be guys that come out of nowhere, and so I would expect there to be 2 or 3 names that are like not on our radar at all right now that are going to be like legitimate first round picks in rookie drafts. So it will get better. I still just don't think it's going to be great. I just don't. When we're talking about, as an Ohio State fan, when we're talking about Carnell Tate as the top receiver in the class, I'm like, yeah, that's
No, when you were doing that
great
rookie
job.
mock, I was like, there's a lot of projection here. There's not very many
lot.
guys.
there's
Usually
like
there
legitimate, SEC Big Ten type receivers that had over 1,000 yards last year that are going to be eligible in next year's class. There's like none. Like it is weird. And there's not a lot of running backs either. And most of them are guys without pedigree. Like they were like 3 stars and stuff like that. So I think the class, I know Jeremiah Love was the running back 2 in his class coming out of high school. And he was like the 78th ranked player in the class. So there just wasn't a lot of like high end talent in that class to begin with. And we had a lot of seniors this year that we thought might go back that decided to, or juniors that decided to join this class too, that could have gone back. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out. Real quick, everybody, we are not able to do a roster rescue show this coming Monday. We have a video that we're gonna be doing. We planned it before we started this show in this time slot, so we will not be having a Monday show for roster rescue. That means that if you want to get your roster evaluated, you either need to do it now and today, or you're gonna have to wait for literally a week from now in order for the next one to be available, because there will not be a Monday show of roster rescue. So just wanted to throw that out there. And yeah, Pete, I don't know. Are we going chat questions next? We going to Dennis's roster next? What are we doing?
Let's do Dennis's, and then we might do a chat Q&A. Who knows?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, we're ready to go. It is a Superflex non-tight end premium PPR league.
Superflex non-tight end premium. All right, we've got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Michael Penix. So we are loaded at quarterback here from my guy Dennis. Tyjae Spears, Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Raheem Mostert at running back. Wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rashee Rice, and then Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Christian Watson, Trey McBride at tight end. Picks wise, we've got the 105, 204, 205, 208, 212 in this year's draft. Taylor, I kicked it off last time. I'm going to let you take the reins right here.
Well, I hope I don't steal your thunder, but the first thing that comes to mind is we're going to package those seconds that he has in this year's draft, and we're going to move up as far as we can and take a real player. So can we get all 4 of those if we have to, put them together, get up to 108, 109? Like, can we drop one of them and get to 110? Whatever we can do to get back up there and get a difference maker, especially because our running back room, if you go back up. So with 105, we're going to likely be looking at a running back. as the best player available and what we need on this roster. We're not going to force it, I don't think. That's not the kind of guy that I have gotten to know Dennis as. You can see in his quarterback room there, he knows how to take value when it's available for him. So I think we definitely need to get two difference makers in this draft class, and those late those late seconds, while they're great dart throws, I can see the value in taking maybe just 4 scattered running backs with those. By the end of the draft, we will know the draft capital. We will feel confident in enough of these guys that we're going to want to take the top ones in the first 10 to 11 picks. So whoever that next second round running back is, the early third round running back that goes to like the Chargers, there's going to be landing spot guys. There's going to be draft capital guys. We're going to find by the time you get to 204, 205, you're going to be taking dart throws. I think it's going to be the best dart throws, but you're going to be throwing darts at the running backs at that point. So get me up into the 108 through 110 range.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. Would you consider, Taylor, because I think this team's close. And Pete, can you take a look? Obviously, we're the number 1 dynasty value. What about contender? All right, so we're 4th in contender. Once again, really buoyed by our quarterback situation. Is there a world, Taylor, where you would say, hey, Josh Allen's on the block, and just see what offers you get? Because that's something I would be open to looking at, considering, because I think, a lot of times you'll put a quarterback on the block and teams are interested, but it's rare for somebody that has the 101 upside, each and every year at the position to become available. Like, that does not happen every day. Where we could maybe look at a team and say, like, hey, I'll move. Like, so this team right here, leave it right here. Nope, you changed it. Oh my gosh, Pete. All right. Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield, either one, and Devon Achane. Like, is something like that in your wheelhouse that you would consider?
Can you go back to Dennis's roster real quick, Pete? We have Trey McBride, which is great, but we're 1 injury away from not having a starter because we don't have anyone else. So
right.
So that's pretty.
We're also shallow at receiver too after the top 3 guys.
It's pretty fragile. I think our receiving core is fairly fragile, and we're missing some running backs. But you have Josh Allen, so that's what makes you a contender in my mind. Like, having him on your roster can cover up some of these other blemishes. So if you're going to contend and get rid of him, I think you need to, like, I don't know if you can get 2 top 5 players at the other positions. You would need that, though, in my mind. Like, and with this roster,
I mean, Baker was a top 5 guy last year. He was the number 4 quarterback.
Top 5 dynasty value guys. So, like, okay. I would need, jeez, it's even hard to come up with what I would like. Maybe I would do Njoku or Ingram, and you'd have to give me a starting running back of, like, gosh, there's nothing, Garrett. There's nothing. I don't think Josh Allen is leaving my roster on this one when there's not a tight end premium. Like, I would consider it for Brock Bowers and a player that would be worthwhile, because you're kind of
why isn't Devon Achane and Baker Mayfield work?
The security of Josh Allen is just so much. I guess if you're really into it, you could talk yourself into moving him, but that's not enough for me. Baker and Achane isn't enough.
What do you guys think about moving Mahomes?
I think Penix.
That's what I was going to say.
I think Penix is the hot one, right? Like, he's the one that you can maybe get something out of. Like, you might get as much out of him from people as you would Mahomes right now, because they at least see upside to his fantasy ceiling. And right now, everyone talks about Mahomes like he can't even crack the QB1 every week anymore. Like, he's getting so depressed. So I think Penix is the one to sell.
I don't think that's true. I think for the most part, people, I mean, ADP, Mahomes is still being drafted in round 1, where Penix is like round 4 or 5. Like, you're definitely getting more from Mahomes. I'm okay with trading Penix, but I don't think anybody would say that their trade value is close.
I just don't think you're going to get many offers is maybe what I'm getting at. The demand for Mahomes isn't as high as Penix, so you're not going to have a bidding war to kind of get more value for him. So I don't think you're going to maximize.
That I can accept.
You're not going to maximize what you can get in a trade with Mahomes the way you could maximize a trade with Penix is where I'm going with that.
That I can accept. I'm okay with that. So if that's the case, I still don't want to have only 2 quarterbacks though. So I'm looking to make a move later to get myself a 3rd quarterback. I always want to have 3 on the roster if I think I'm a contender, because if you only have 2 and one of them gets hurt, now all of a sudden the price for every other quarterback just skyrockets. So you don't want to wait till in season to do that, in my opinion. I'd much rather go get Stafford, Carr, whoever, somebody like that. Now, if you're going to move Penix, I don't know what you're going to get. You might be able to get like straight up a Kenneth Walker. Maybe if you're lucky, a Jonathan Taylor. That's probably the highest I could see. Do you think you could get much more than that?
No, I don't think you could get much more than that, but I would maybe be interested to flip Penix for like Geno Smith or Derek Carr, someone that I can use for this year that's like people are wanting to get rid of. And that way I could pick up like a future first with Penix, because I think he's worth a 26 first just out of the box. Like if you wanted to just give me a pick for him, like it needs to be a 26 first or else we're not even talking. So I think you can get that plus a bottom tiered quarterback if that's the route you want to go, and then you have that first to go out and
this team might be it. This might be the team. Geno Smith and Joe Mixon.
Yes, and I would take that deal if I'm Dennis as the contender. I don't think that the upside is there for Penix that you're giving up like a difference maker at the position, so that would be a good move.
I would want more, because I think dynasty value on these players, like in a vacuum, like you're taking Geno Smith in the 11th round, you're taking Joe Mixon in the 8th round, and you're taking Michael Penix in the 4th or 5th round. So I think you could get more on top of it, but I think that's like your good starting point in the base of your trade.
Also,
and then you kind of get a little bit more on top.
They do have Drake London on this team, so you get the stack.
Oh, you get the stack. That would probably make them super interested. Yeah.
Would you be interested in the plus being Jake Ferguson, given that we have McBride? It's not premium, but he would be the backup. Would that be the plus that you would ask for?
I'm fine with that being a plus. I wouldn't be fine with that being the only plus.
You want full value in Dynasty for Penix is what you're looking for.
Right. Because you're getting deteriorating assets. Like you're acquiring a bunch of guys that are losing value for someone that's gaining value. So I don't think you should sell him short necessarily, even though you're pushing for a ship.
Yeah, I think this manager might be willing to make a trade like that before the draft because they have Chase Brown. If the Bengals were to draft another running back, I'm thinking they might be holding on tighter to Joe Mixon. So that might be a manager that you got to talk to before the draft happens.
Randall, we actually have the 105. Oh, you're trying to move up to 104. You're saying the good news is I think you can sit pat at 105 and still get Quinshon Judkins. I don't think you have to move up to get him. I think he's going to naturally fall there. Yeah. He might even fall to 6, 7, 8, depending on how the draft goes. But I feel pretty confident now because basically for him to not be available at 5, it would have to be all 4 running backs go first. And if that's the case, I mean, even though that's not what you're looking for, that's incredible value in a super flex on Cam Ward or Travis Hunter or somebody like that. So unless your league just totally goes off the rails, I think you're getting I think you're getting Quinshon Judkins there pretty easily.
Would you want to do a mock with this team and actually see what those seconds amount to? We have 204, 205. We got some late
why not?
seconds. I mean, we did a 2-round mock at the beginning of the show, but I'm wondering with this team, if we take the dart throws and we use what we've invested all this time watching the rookies and getting, ahead of our league mates, can we make these picks work for us instead of condensing them?
Real quick, Randall clarified. He meant he wants to trade Penix straight up for 104 to be able to get both Henderson and Judkins is what he meant. So that makes more sense. I don't know that you'll be able to do that. It's close because that's the range Cam Ward would go in, and I think he's valued similarly to Penix in Dynasty. So it's possible for sure. So first 3 picks were what, Pete?
Ashton, Trevion, and Kameth
Ward, and then McMillan. So we are at 105. In this scenario, if Omari and Hampton falls to you at 105, I think that's a dream scenario.
Yep.
I think you'd be shouting for joy.
Amarian gets drafted by the Broncos, and Quinshon gets drafted by the Dolphins. Who are you picking?
I'm assuming in that case they're
Both second round.
both second. I don't think Omarian falls to pick 220.
Well, they trade up, Garrett.
Omarian.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Following in your boy Javante's footsteps.
All right. Yeah, let's take Omarian here. No objections, Taylor?
No objections. I think Henderson might be there, though. 105 in a lot of drafts, Henderson's going to be there. So you might end up getting him instead, which is perfectly fine, I think.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so here's the running back shotgun approach range. Dylan Sampson, I think, is a great pick at 204 if you're going with that approach. He's got some crazy high upside. So he would probably be my pick at 204. Who would you take at 205?
So with our team, I think maybe we'd be interested in Trey Harris because we need some depth at receiver that can start for us right away. And I think he has some potential to give us points mid-season and beyond if he's actually drafted in the first 3 rounds, So I think Trey Harris is probably where I'd go with this team. Even though we could use more running backs, we at least have 2 of them now. I want to use this earlier pick on a guy that I think is a tier above whoever else is on the board at that position.
Yeah.
So Dylan Sampson and Trey Harris.
Yep.
I will be drafting so much Trey Harris in the second round.
Yeah. If he's falling to 2.5, I think that's a great range for him.
Anyone? I mean, Dart's not going to be at 208.
No,
he's not going to be available in a super flex league at this point.
No.
But yes, obviously you take him for sure there if he's there.
Jalen
I like
Royals?
Tootin here. I think Tootin's
Okay.
I think Tootin's a great pick for that shotgun approach at running back. All right, we got 1 pick left.
I mean, I would take ETN based on what we did, based on what I said before, but I also think Devin Neal would be fine. I would be taking another running back with this pick, though.
I have no problem with either one of those guys.
Okay. Sweet.
So yeah, I think there's some good running backs that'll be available in the mid to late second round. So I think you've got some very, very nice options. So with that, we've got the chat Q&A coming up, and Pete, I think we're wide open. We could get a roster review in right after this if you want in. If not, that's okay. Hey, I'll end early. I mean, I have to pee anyway.
We actually do have a roster review already.
Oh, we've got a roster
So
review?
we're gonna have a quick Q&A, but we do have a roster review set up. So I would say, Garrett,
Oh, Aaron. Nice. My bad, Aaron.
you should just go pee right now, because
All right.
Aaron
Do the
deserves
Q&A without me while I pee.
a rescue when you're drinking water. You're pre-gaming it.
Right. Well, I'm about to pee. I'm about to get rid of it. So,
That's not how this works.
it's logical.
Yeah,
This is exactly how it works.
Does make sense. Okay. We have some chat Q&As happening right now. I even put it on the chat right here. Let's go. So I heard you shout out Jalen Milroe. Wait, you're a Jalen Milroe guy? Also, did I shout him out?
He's a huge Jalen Milroe guy.
When did I shout out Jalen Milroe?
Keith was taking Jalen Milroe in the first round of our Superflex rookie drafts to start out the season. And we'll see what happens. I mean, depending on what team he goes to, at what pick, he might get a shot at starting. And for fantasy purposes, he could definitely hit with his profile. So too soon to know, Keith, but we aren't going to bury your take yet.
I might, but I would love it if the Colts drafted him. That'd be...
Yeah, right. That's what they need.
Taylor doesn't want us to get us started. Okay, so any quick firing trade questions, chat? Well, Garrett's pee break right now. So, he's already back. So,
you guys are so slow. You guys were the same way yesterday.
Man,
you're like, oh yeah, we'll get this done while you pee, and then you don't.
Well, the chat's
Maybe you
slow.
should
It's
go
not my
before the
fault.
show.
I do, but I start to drink so much on the show that I gotta pee again.
You would
Sounds
never
like
make
Garrett.
it on a car trip with me. We're not stopping every 45 minutes.
Oh, that's true.
It's been
I
an
hate that.
hour.
I like the problem is I have a wife that has to pee all the time and 2 daughters that have to pee all the time. So if it's up to me, you don't stop at least for 2 hours. At least.
Why?
But
Why, Garrett?
because it takes forever to just keep stopping and stopping and stopping. But I don't have that luxury, so I'm stopping every 45 minutes because somebody has to pee.
You need to be in the car long enough that when you get out, you stretch and it feels like you just got life back into you. Like that's how long that needs to be between your breaks. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting that energy, I feel like.
Okay, we got a quick one, and this might be a pretty quick one. Trying to get rid of Pollard as a rebuilder. Who do I target? And it's whatever you can get, right? Or he doesn't have that much
More
value.
or less. Yeah, unfortunately, you don't get a ton for Pollard at this point. You could probably, I mean, in a good scenario, at the right time, you could get an early second. If it's like in season and he's playing well, you might be able to get an early second. Otherwise, you might just have to settle for a mid-second.
If you're looking for a player, I would say maybe like a Darnell Mooney, Rashid Shaheed, something like that, where there's some upside and you're not asking them to give up a true starter, because a lot of people aren't going to view Pollard as a guaranteed starter, so you're not going to get that sort of value for him.
Would you do the I'll trade you since you're in rebuild, you're not looking for points this year. Sometimes what I don't mind doing is if there's a team that has like a few different young handcuff type guys, I don't mind going after those. So like if it was a team that has, hey, I have Trey Benson and I have Jalen Wright and I have, somebody else that's a dart throw. Like, all right, I'll trade you somebody to help you win and contend now for like 3 of these whatever pieces at the moment to try to like potentially capitalize. Because if you miss on a mid-second, oh well. But like if you hit on one of those running backs, even just for a short period of time, you get that second back. Plus you still have the other running back. So sometimes I don't mind doing that if I'm not getting quite the value I think that player's worth. Give me a bunch of lottery tickets.
Yep.
And I'm interested in that.
Yeah. You're always wanting to split when you're in rebuild mode. Split until you can't split anymore. So if you can take Pollard and turn him into 2 younger guys, do it. I don't think you're losing anything. I don't think Pollard's going to be worth a first at some point this season. I don't think you're giving up that kind of upside on your trade deals. So,
one more thing is Aaron Glenn. This is from Keith. Aaron Glenn recently said about Breece Hall, I think mentally he's in a good place. Good to hear. But I would say
Is that in question?
that we have 3 running backs on this team that we're going to utilize as much as possible. So they're going to run the ball 3 times a play. Thoughts?
Nice.
Are we worried about Breece Hall at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was already worried. I was already worried. It's not a good offensive line. And Justin Fields, the target rate, I talked about this on one of the videos recently. The target rate for Breece Hall in the year that he was running back 2 overall, the running backs had a 26.5% target rate on the team that year. Justin Fields, the highest he's ever had, and it was even for a partial season, was 22%. So that's already a 4% less. And most of his starting years in Chicago, he was looking at a 17% target rate for running backs. So he's not targeting the running back a ton. And you're telling me like somewhere between 17 and 22%, let's, split the difference, 19.5, 20%. Like that's just not the target volume that is going to quite get it done. And if it's a subpar offensive line, which means we're probably not getting the rushing numbers we want, that could spell bad news for a running back that should be like at his peak prime right now. It might just not be.
So what's different in this situation from Jonathan Taylor last year?
Jonathan Taylor was a running back one.
But he was with Anthony Richardson, who is also rushing quarterback and not targeting the running backs very frequently. And now and their offensive line was not seen as a top 5 unit.
Do we actually believe that Breece Hall is as talented of a rusher as Jonathan Taylor?
So I'm just wondering what it looks like when his speed and his one cut hop gets some lanes with Fields. If Fields can stretch the defense out to the sides, if he can pull them in closer, whatever he can do to open it up, I think that Breece has potential to get a lot. His average could go up. So he might get fewer carries, but it might make him more efficient, is my hope for him. If I'm optimistic about having Breece on my team, I'm hoping that Fields makes him more efficient and that there are more red zone opportunities. Not that he would get a large chunk of them by comparison, but at least they would make it to the red zone frequently with that offense. So that's maybe the other side of the coin. With this news, you kind of hope you can trade him away before your league mates see it on the side of sleeper, if it's not already up there. Maybe it does push you into moving off of him but they're not going to draft anyone. They're not going to add a 4th running back. They feel good about the 3 they have, I guess.
You never know.
Okay, really fast, guys. We have the GOAT in the comments right now. Tom Brady is here.
Tom Brady.
Shout out to my favorite deflated ball guy.
Favorite cheater.
No, that's actually Bill Belichick. I actually have his dad's book right here.
He actually, yes, if he's a cheater, he would be
one of the
cheater.
best books to read, by the way. Football Scouting Methods by Steve Belichick. But
wait, by Steve Belichick?
Yeah, his daddy.
No, Bill.
It's one of the best.
Oh, Bill's dad?
Yeah. He's literally the most
Bill
legendary
Belichick's
scout
dad?
of all time.
Oh, I thought you were talking about his son.
No.
The defensive coordinator with the weird
Why
tie.
did you buy it in the backwards version?
Because we are mirrored. I guess. Are we mirrored? Wow, we are mirrored. Okay.
Yep. See, I told you, it could be right side, could be left side.
Anyway,
nobody knows where
so
that little scanner
this is kind of an unhinged episode, I have to say.
Most of them are.
With you, Pete, they're all unhinged.
I'm like a door without walls, baby. I have the 103, 105, 109, 201, 202, and 42 next year.
This year.
Sorry. He's trying to trade for the 101 and 104, but the guy's being a jerk and saying no. He offered the 105, 109, 201, both firsts, so future firsts, and both fourths. Oh, big whoop. For the 101 and 104, but the guy who with them refuses to trade it. Is that
so
he's trading?
So he offered 105, 109, 201, and 2 firsts.
Yes.
For 101 and 104.
Yeah, I think
I would just
something on that too. If I'm
I would just try to trade for the 101. Don't even just kind of simplify the trade down.
Yeah, because you have 103, so I don't think we necessarily need the 104. Appreciate you, Keith. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Pete. the target in this is Ashton Genty.
Mm-hmm.
Like the range of 102 to 105 is still very in flux.
Either
right
one
now.
of those players can be the highest fantasy producer, and I would not be surprised at all in that range.
Correct. So I would see like, can 105 and 107 get it done, or 103 and 107 get it done? Like if you're that sold on Ashton Genty being the guy, which I get it. Like I'm not sold he's not that guy. But if you're sold on him, I think like I'm not trying to give up too much more. Like the max I'd be willing to give is 103, 107. Like I don't think I'm willing to give much more than that.
Yeah, I think he had 109, but I think your sentiments hold, right? It's still
Well, he has 107 as
he has
well.
107 and 109.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Oh,
Guy, a couple picks
defensive
up, guys.
nacho.
105,
you were looking
107,
at him.
and 109. That's funny.
Yeah, I feel like you can't be. You're getting too greedy by trying to include the 103 and the 104. Like, just remove those from the trade. Can I give the 105, the 109, the 201, and get the 101? Is that enough for me? I'm giving up essentially 3 firsts, basically, for the 101. I think that is a fair offer. And if he says no, then skip the 201 and offer one of those 26 firsts. And that's maybe a better deal for you in reality. But on paper, it makes them feel like they're truly getting 3 firsts in return for Genty. So I would do that. The 105, your 109, and then either the 201 or the future first. And if they are going to be absolutely a stickler about it, I don't think you give much more than that, because with the 105 you can still get like Judkins or Henderson, and although they're not Ashton Genty, I'm not saying they are, with the other assets that you would also be sending away, there's a good chance that your roster would be better off production wise with having 3 players taken in this year's top 15 14 players than just condensing 4 or 5 assets to get Ashton Genty. Depending on your roster, maybe not, but for most rosters they could use 3 to 4 solid players as much as they could use 1 stud.
Quick hot take really fast. I think that the 101 will be worth less post NFL draft because there will be so many good running back landing spots that people will not want to trade up to the 101. And Genty will seem less cool. Anyway, roster review?
Yep.
It's a hot take, guys. That's why you don't have to agree with it.
All right, here we go. Aaron in the Make Football Great Again League. I'm guessing this is a one quarterback
PPR.
Right?
Just started a full rebuild.
Those are fun, man. I kind of love blowing it up. So on his team right now, CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Spencer Rattler. Ooh. We've got Braylon Allen, apparently the new running back 1 in New York. Marshawn Lloyd, Zach Moss. Then we have Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, Keon Coleman, Tank Dell, and Quinshon Judkins. And then at tight end, we have, Johnson. Can you scroll up? Or Quentin Johnson, QJ. Got me. Mark Andrews, Bretton Strange. And then we have the 101, 102, 106, and then multiple, and 112 and 201. And we have multiple first in 2026, although we do not have our own, it looks like. Looks like we do not have our own 26 first, but we do have others. First comment I want to make about this. I feel like the wide receiver room is like the graveyard of receivers everyone used to love.
It reminds me of all those Dynasty rosters with Juju Smith on them after his rookie season, and everyone was like, I just won Dynasty, guys. And then everyone's, how do you and then after, same thing with Olave,
I feel like all the way down even to like Rashad Bateman, like all of these guys were super hyped at one point.
Yep.
And unfortunately, all of them have lost value since that time. Now, I do think there's a couple nice rebound candidates in this group, which is nice. I think this receiver group could improve here very, very soon. But this is a 1 QB league. CJ Stroud, even though I'm not a big CJ Stroud guy, in a 1 QB, I'm good with him. Like, it's totally fine. You're in a good spot. If for some reason there's somebody that thinks they are upgrading by getting CJ Stroud, move him ASAP. Because in a 1 QB, the difference between him and Trevor Lawrence, who's your backup, is minimal at best. So if there's somebody that views that as a nice upgrade, I'm totally fine moving CJ Stroud. I don't need a quarterback in return. You can just have him, and I'll take pick 2-2 or whatever. Like, I'm good with that. So that being said, with all of the draft assets that you have, we're clearly going to be able to get ourselves some nice running backs. You've got the 101, and what do we have other than that, Pete?
We've got a lot of picks.
101, 102. So I think right off the rip, before we start like picking this thing apart, should we just do a mock draft?
Yeah.
Taylor?
This
Let's
is
do
one
it.
of those.
Mock it.
This is one of those teams.
We get 5
that
picks in the first 13.
if it was a orphan, I would be wanting to take this team over. You know what I mean? Like, this is
absolutely.
a super fun rebuild.
Absolutely.
Pete, do people ask you for references when you apply to take over orphans?
No.
Hey, Orphan, I'm about to take you
I'm
over.
just-
All right.
What, did I say something weird?
Nope. Let's just move on. 101. We've got Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty as the clear pick here. 102 is interesting though. Once again, we've kind of talked about this before. There's a lot of good options. Why did you take Trayvon Henderson? What are you doing? You're such a goober. All right. Ashton Genty at the 101. At 102, Taylor, is there a world where if one of these running backs people just fall in love with, or Travis Hunter has declared as a wide receiver and everybody's just clamoring for him, is there a world where, because you're in a pseudo rebuild, although you're not far away from contending if you make these picks correct, would you be open to trading down a little bit to pick 3, 4, 5 and picking up potentially some more assets?
I would be if I'm moving back to 3, 4, or 5. I don't want to move off the 102. I mean, we have the 6, but if everyone picks, in front of us, if they take all of our best guys, is this a tight end premium? No, it's a 1 quarterback, right? So not tight end premium.
Correct. No tight end premium.
Yeah, so Tyler Warren drops for me at just a couple spots. So I would say if you're getting, well, we already have a couple of firsts for next year, but I think the way that we would maybe want to rebuild this out is who has our 2026 first, and can we trade them this pick for that and a bunch of other stuff before they know that we're truly in rebuild mode? Or can I use this and get a 103, 104, 105 and like a early second, future 2027 first, maybe from the 105 person?
Are we actually still in rebuild mode? Because we have some decent receivers, not difference makers yet. But we have some decent receivers. Mark Andrews can get the job done at tight end. With an Ashton Genty, is there a world where we are actually contending this year and potentially, instead of acquiring more draft picks, using some of our future assets in 26 to even move back into this class?
Well, the answer to are we contending, I think, is going to depend on how early Genty hits the ground running. I think if he's getting points for us starting week 1, then yeah, we could get a couple of wins early on, because like you said, this is a pretty easy roster to set the lineup for. You know who you're starting every week. So if they hit that week, then you're going to win your matchup. You're not going to worry about, 20 points sitting on your bench. So to your point, Garrett, if we're going to make these selections rather than try to get future capital, if you're going to move back from 102, you can still do that and take a Judkins or Henderson or whoever doesn't get taken at 102, 103. But I think what you end up doing is you're forcing yourself into competing if you don't give up the 102. Like, that's your point. Like, if you wanted to rebuild further, or you want to get your future first back, I think that's the time you do it, is with the 102. But if you make that pick, in my mind, you're giving up your 26 first. You're not taking that. You're not making a deal for that back. And you're going to try and contend. You're going to get it as high as you can.
Who has our first pick?
You don't want to give them an early or mid first if you can help it, for sure.
Absolutely.
This guy has it.
Okay. So
He's got the
he
103.
also has 103.
And he also has, if we want to go contender, he does have Najee. If we wanted to send a 26 pick.
I almost wish he had like 104 or 105 because it would be easier to ask for a first on top to get, like, I feel like moving back one spot, nobody's going to want to give their first.
What if we move from 106 to 203? Or 106 to 111 with the first, and we have to give back something?
I think that's the move there. 106 to 111. We get back our pick, and we give maybe our second.
You're kind of hurting yourself though a little bit, don't you think? By paying to get back your own first, but then not purposefully planning to tank. Like, I don't think we need to.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't really need to. This is going to be a mid first. It's not going to be a early first.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about getting our first back. Screw that. Make the pick.
Yep.
Who we taking?
I think for the brand's sake, we have to take Henderson, but we all know that Hampton has the potential to go higher in the draft and therefore would adjust the rankings.
I would be totally fine with either one. Totally fine with either one. So we'll say Henderson for today, but don't take that as the gospel truth. It could easily be one of these other running backs, but we'll say Henderson for right now. Ooh, Emeka Buka with somebody sniping him early. Well, we have two running backs. Do we take a third running back? If we're actually thinking we're at the point that we want to kind of push in and say we're contending, Quinshawn would be the type of guy that could give us a true stable of running backs.
Yeah. If this is how the board fell, I would just take Judkins probably before I even checked my inbox offers. I mean, if someone really wanted to pay me for it, great, but I can't think of another player I'd rather fall to me with this roster, assuming that we're going to start contending. Because even like Travis Hunter, as much as I would love his potential on a team like this, we really need the running backs more than we need the wide receivers. Assuming that our wide receivers can figure themselves out, one of them is at least getting us close to 20 points every week.
Olave bounce
back.
Yeah,
I think you need to get that third running back in there. So I would be stoked if I was this manager and I started out with those three running backs.
Now let's say, go ahead.
Is Judkins best player available here for you too, or who's EPA right now?
I would say Travis Hunter's probably best player available. I kind of keep forgetting about that, and this will probably be updated soon to kind of reflect that we kind of now are leaning toward he is going to be a wide receiver. If that's the case, I would have no problem taking Travis Hunter here at all. Like, I think he's that good. But then I'm saying, okay, I'm all in. I'm doing whatever I can to talk to Henry Ruggs' F1 team. And I'm saying, okay, here's a 26 first. What else do you need on top to give me 107? So that way I can get Quinshawn.
You're not making your pick, though, until you get that deal done. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You work with him. If you don't do that, and let's say we did just go best player available and we think that is Travis Hunter here. If that's the case, then if I can't get a deal done with Henry Ruggs, then I'm going I've got two young running backs, I've got young quarterback, I've got young receivers, youngish receivers. I can afford one older guy. Like, I can afford that. So where's Derrick Henry? Where's CMC? Where's Joe Mixon? Where's James Conner? Where's one of these guys as a third running back? There you go. Worst team.
Well, you had Najee.
Dynasty
the one guy had Najee. If you
11 and 12
like
have
the 201 probably.
Yep, Mixon, Najee, Hubbard. I would be fine with any of
This
those.
guy definitely thinks he's a contender, though,
Yeah.
with Kittle.
He's a fake tender. Well, yeah, he's
Well,
closer if it's dynasty
Let's
mode.
see.
I'm sure.
That is crazy that he's last right now, but that's because no picks. Let's see, where's he at?
The Najee team's still 11.
You know what you could do, Garrett, is maybe you just package those future 26s and go get like Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is another one that I'd be totally fine going to get.
You
Jonathan
probably
Taylor.
don't need to add that much to a future 26 to get Kenneth Walker if that manager is not relying too heavily on him. I think we have plenty of capital to go out and get someone. If you felt like Travis Hunter is the must-have guy there, you couldn't go and fill that running back spot with someone else.
Yeah. So let's pretend that we
Kamara.
did that. Let's go back to the draft. Let's pretend we got ourselves a solid old guy running back. But we don't have our picks anymore in 26. So we added him. We got Travis Hunter then here at 1-6.
Okay.
And then at 112-2-1,
Oh, man.
we're in a nice spot because now you can add
Yeah.
the running back that you like. Do you like Caleb Johnson? Do you like Cam Scatterbo? Do you like Dylan Sampson? You can add one of those guys very, very easily at this point. I would have loved for Colston Loveland to have fallen one more spot. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
But is what it is. Is that the route you would go here? You would take one of those running backs, whichever one you liked the most?
Yeah. Spoiler alert, I would take 2 out of the 3. Whichever 2 you like out of the 3 with this team. I mean, I like Trey Harris and stuff, but I would probably just go with, for me, I would probably go with Caleb Johnson and Dylan Sampson, but I know Scatterbo is getting a lot of hub, and if he gets good draft capital, I could see him also being a really good option there.
So then, with that being the case, we already added Travis Hunter to our wide receiver room. So let's take who do you like more between Caleb Johnson and Dylan Sampson?
I personally like Dylan Sampson more, but I think for dynasty value, you're going to get more out of Caleb Johnson. So when you say best player available, are we looking contender best player available or dynasty value best player available?
Pick who you want. I'm taking Scatterbo at 112. Take who you want.
All right. Well, then I'm going to take Dylan Sampson.
Chat, I'm curious,
All right.
really fast, chat. Do you have Cam Scatterbo or Caleb Johnson ahead for you personally? So Samson.
All right, so if that's the case now we can look at our running back room because we don't have any more picks, right? Nothing of value anyway. All right, so we can go ahead and go back to our team. So now we're looking at a team with Ashton Genty, a team with who was our second pick?
Travion Henderson, Travis Hunter, Cam, and Dylan Sampson.
So we've got 4 running backs. We have a 5th, really, because we talked about trading our picks for one of those older veterans. You don't necessarily need to trade them both, depending on who the player is. So now we have 5 running backs, 3 of which we feel like we can start right away. 2 upside guys in a Scatterbo and Sampson that might not play right away, but we know that there's some ceiling there. And we added Travis Hunter to the wide receiver room. We're in a pretty nice spot. So I think that's the move. You stick with your draft picks, stick with your board, but then you add in an additional veteran running back with your 26 picks.
This is exactly.
Feel good about that, Taylor?
Yeah, this is why you take best player available, because you took Travis Hunter over Judkins, which at the time felt closer than it does now, right? Looking at who you got at the 112-201, we're much happier on this team to have Travis Hunter now than we were when we were worried about Judkins. So that's just goes to show, like, you know, even in a vacuum, it comes true. So
absolutely. All right, Aaron, best of luck to you, my friend, on all your future endeavors. All right, Pete, do we have any others, or are we finished?
I think we're done.
All right.
I'll tell you what. We'll answer maybe one or two more chat questions. I'll give time for one more. If one more person wants to do a roster review, we'll hang out. If we don't get one within the next, what we think 5 minutes is fair?
Yeah.
All right. If we don't get one within the next 5 minutes, we'll end it there. But we'll talk about a chat question in the meantime. Pete, give us a chat question.
Okay. Tyler asks, I have the 103, 05, and 06 in a 12-team half superflex. Half superflex? Half PPR superflex, I'm assuming.
I'm guessing.
Or that would be a one quarterback. Fun fact. Only John McCarthy?
JJ McCarthy.
Okay. As quarterback with Justin Jefferson, Tillman, and Puka. Was offered James Cook and Brees for 103, 106, and 207. I'd be receiving a 2026 second and fourth. I'd also be receiving a 2022 and fourth. My RBs are eh. Oh, he must be a Canadian.
I don't think I would. Even though on the surface, it's actually not a bad offer. But if you were to tell me a little while ago that you could get Brees Hall and James Cook for just 2 firsts and a second, I guess 2 seconds, I'd be like, yeah, Brees by himself is worth close to that. But realistically, knowing what the picks are, 103, I'm not confident at this point that the 103 is more valuable than Brees. It's close. It's really close. Is Cook more valuable than the 106? I don't think he is. And I think he's on the, have my eye on it sneaky watch list of guys that could potentially have a running back added. They have not figured out his future contract yet. And they've talked about it, but they have not done it. They're waiting till after the draft, which is not ideal for a guy like James Cook. So it's weird to say that the picks feel less risky because picks inherently should be more risky, but they feel less risky here. Taylor, do you agree?
Yeah, I think I would be talking to them about the 105 and the 106 in return for both those running backs. And even then, I'm a little hesitant. So I'm just saying, 105 for Brees, maybe it's a win if you're the 105 manager. Like you said, Cook in the 106, I don't know if that makes a difference. Like if I can get Judkins on a rookie deal on an offense that maybe even trades up to take him, let's say, I would rather have him on my team than James Cook unless I'm like a serious 1 or 2 year contender. Like if I'm in the thick of it and I don't have other assets that I can move, then maybe I'm excited about James Cook more than Judkins. But I mean, it's hard to see Travis Hunter, Judkins, anyone who's at the 106 not being worth as much as James Cook on draft day. I think you could wait and make a deal on draft day. You might get 106 and 207 and get James Cook and a future first, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing it. It's tempting, and those are fun names, but I don't think I'm doing it.
Okay. Next question is from Andrew.
All right, last one, unless we get a review.
Rescue, Garrett. Rescue
Review.
I am in a last nerd standing league. I have 2 years left. What does that mean, Garrett? In a last nerd standing league.
So there are 5-year leagues, and basically each year, is it 2 teams? I think 2 teams get eliminated, and so it's kind of like a guillotine type of league.
Vive la France. I have 2 years left and have the 3rd, 9th, and 12th, and 15th pick. What should I be targeting? Thanks, Dirty Hippie Farmer out.
He's a hardcore guy in our Discord there. I've heard from one time I accidentally called him Hippie Dippy Farmer. I don't know why. So I never forget his name because of that. I always remember it. He's like, bro, that's not my name. I was like, oh, it's not. Anyway, that being said, I'm assuming he's asking rookies because we don't know like what players are available. So, or actually, I think in that league, players don't come back. So just they get
And
eliminated.
what format is that? Are they in? Is it in? Is it Superflex Titan Premium or unless
I believe it's Superflex Titan Premium.
Okay.
So for me, with it only being 2 years, not that it's drastically different, but I am taking no player that I think is going to take some time to develop. Like, the JSNs, the Romo Dunzes of the past. If I think it's going to take any time for them to develop, I could be eliminated this year. And all the teams left are good teams. So I'm not chancing getting eliminated. So that's what I thought. You can't do vet players. So that being said, it's just a PPR, 1QB PPR. That being said, I think third is easy. You take the best running back there. Is it Hampton? Is it Henderson? I think that one's pretty easy. 9, 12, and 15, I think I would be specifically looking at the 9th spot. Is there a receiver that I really like there? Because if there's a receiver you believe in, then I'm interested in them. I'm not the biggest Burden guy, but if it's Burden, Golden, Trey Harris, I don't think Tet would fall that far. But if there's a receiver like that, Emeka Buka, honestly, Ibuka might be the best one.
He was there.
I could see easy, year one production. I could see him being like just a really solid, steady guy. But yeah, I'm not taking risky players. So even at like 12, I'm looking at what are the backfields looking like of players that I could potentially be taking, because I'm not taking anyone that has any sort of a rocky path. Even if I have them as the better player, I'm going, what's the quickest ship to shore? Because I've got one at best 2 years left. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know what you think, Taylor.
I think I want to put the 112 with the 203. It would be in a standard league. I'm going to move the 112 and the 203 and try to get the 108 if I can. And then I'm going to take the best player available at 108 because I think you could get Ibuka or Tyler Warren there. I know it's not tight end premium necessarily, but Tyler Warren to me is more of a win now player to draft on your team than someone like, at what we know now, Matthew Golden. Like, I'm personally not going to rely on him on my team the way that I would feel better about a guy like Warren, who's probably going to get top 10, top 12 draft capital in the NFL draft. So when it comes down to only having a 2-year window, I'm not even thinking about taking developmental guys like pretty much any tight end after Mason Taylor. Maybe I'd make Mason Taylor. No other tight ends. I'm going to try and move the 12th and 15th to get up into the 108 range. Either get Tyler Warren, get Ibuka. Maybe you can. I don't like Burden there, Garrett. I don't want to take Burden either. Like, he to me is maybe a 2-year project that could pay off, but not for this type of a team. So Colston Loveland gets a bump over a guy like Burden in this type of a format.
Awesome sauce. All right, guys. Well, appreciate all of you guys tuning in, hanging out with us, giving us your rosters to rescue or review. With that, anything you want to tell the good folks before we get out of here, Taylor?
A lot of our rookie profiles are hitting the website. Keep going over there and checking out what our writers have to say. We've got 4 different breakdowns from individual film watchers. We've got some of our own all-22 video in there on the rookies. So study up before the draft comes. That way you know the landing spots, who's really going to hit when they get their fantasy profiles in there. So always available at my sleepers if you guys have any questions or requests for content on the website.
All right, Pete, got anything?
Yeah. So I have a question. Everyone wants to know this, Garrett, and as my new dad, I deserve to know this. Is your middle name actually Dynasty? Is it Garrett Dynasty Price?
According to Rich Dotson, it's Pussyfoot.
Well, people can have multiple middle names too, you know.
What do you think my middle name is?
You look like a James.
I was gonna say Jeremiah.
James. Those are good guesses, but incorrect.
What is it?
You need to go a little more generic.
Paul.
That's a very good guess, but no.
Oh,
Peter.
then that means it's David.
Oh, close, but no cigar.
No. How many apostles do you know?
All of them.
Is it an apostle?
It is not.
Is it Jesus?
Michael.
Oh.
Garrett Michael Price. My mom thought it sounded like a doctor. I've made her so proud. All right. That wraps up roster rescue for today. Appreciate you guys. We will not be seeing you on Monday. So we will see you next Wednesday.